My name is Vanessa McCleary, and I am the Vice President of Real Estate Development for the CDC of Tampa. Welcome to the CDC Experience. Today, we're going to be talking about estate planning. This is such an important topic. We have been talking about passing on generational wealth for a long time, but you really can't pass it on unless you have an estate plan. So today I have two amazing women with me. I have Karen and Jasmine, and they're going to be helping us talk about how we plan for the future. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. So I'm going to start with you, Jasmine.
Appreciate it. Jasmine Butler. I'm a certified financial planner. I'm also a partner in Anderson Butler Wealth Management, where we help people navigate their wealth journey and navigating life's ups and downs and getting them to and through retirement.
And Karen, if
Thank
you would
you
introduce yourself.
so much. My name is Karen Skyers. I am a partner at Eris Law, where we help people create legacies through estate planning. And we also work with the CDC to clear heirs property. And so we are so excited to join you, Ms. Vanessa, today. Thank you for having us.
Thank you both for being here. I want to start with you, Jasmine, because I have three young sons. And I have been telling them the importance of starting to save now for the future. Can you talk about some ways that people can start saving even if they don't have a lot of money?
Yeah, so I always say you can start big or start small. We all have to start somewhere, right? So that's the first step, is acknowledging that investments are accessible, especially in this day and age, and knowing that you can start off as little as $25 a month, $50 a month. And so I always say there are foundations that we want to set, right? Things like emergency savings. I always jokingly say, I know it's not sexy. We want to jump right to the investments, but emergency savings is the foundation to your plan. Before you're jumping into other investment vehicles, things like Roth IRAs, where your money can grow tax-free throughout your entire retirement. Or IRAs in general, money can grow tax-free or can grow tax-deferred, and allowing yourself to keep that tax money that would have gone to the IRS and essentially hold on to that money and let it grow and compound for years to come. And so there's a few different options that you have, but each of them have different rules, right? So it's very important to know what those rules are, because if you take that money out before retirement age, you could have a 10% penalty. So we never want to make sure. That's why that emergency savings is such a pivotal starting point, because you don't want to be penalized to take your own money. You want to make sure that you have that as a foundation and it's accessible for anything that may come up. But beyond that, I always also want to point people to their employer plans. So most people have a 401k, right? And your employer is willing to put money in on your behalf if you are, right? So I always say, don't leave free money on the table. So if your employer matches 6%, you should be putting in no less than 6%. You can't miss what you don't see.
Yes.
Right? So if it's going in there before it ever hit that bank account.
Yes. Say that again.
Set it aside. And like you said, making sure putting it in is half the battle. Making sure it's properly invested is the other side of that coin. Right? So there are many things called in the 401k, even if you are new to investing, if you're feeling intimidated by it, I always like to point people to things called life cycle funds. And what those are is it focuses on the date that you personally would be retiring. So if I'm on track to retire in 2055, then I can elect a life cycle fund that says 2055, and they will automatically make that money grow for me, but also make it more conservative as I get closer to retirement.
Okay.
So it's a great option for those who are getting started and don't feel comfortable making investment selections.
And, being older, knowing what I know now, and I wish I knew then, I get it. But how do we get young people to truly get it? Because I think for our younger folks in the audience who are just coming out of college and they want to buy the car and do all kinds of things and get the nice wardrobe with their money, and they're not thinking about retirement. But I know when I looked at my Social Security statement, it said Social Security is going away, that it was going to run out of money.
Yeah.
And so
It's a little concerning. Yeah.
it's a little concerning. And I know that we work with a lot of families who that's their only source of income in retirement. And that's a scary proposition. So, what would you say to someone who's just starting out about setting that money aside? Why is it so important?
I would say it's not a wish, it's not a want, it's a need. It's a requirement to invest. So if we go back 30 years, retirement used to be a three-legged stool. You had your Social Security, you had a pension, and then you had your investments, right? So we already know pensions have become pretty much obsolete. Companies, it used to be on the company to take money from your paycheck and invest it for you. The company said, we're gonna shift that from us over to you, and you need to figure out how much you need to save for your lifestyle. So that's one leg that's already become obsolete. And to your point, Social Security, it is on track to run out, but I always like to point out it's a simple tax fix. Nobody wants to run on increasing taxes.
Yeah.
We might wait till the 11th hour. There will be some form of it, because like you said, many people are reliant on it. And so what I say to young people is do you want to have control of your future, right? Do you want options? And so I get it. You want those concert tickets. You want to sit front row, right? You want the newest sneakers or shoes. And what I say is that those things come and you can treat yourself as time goes on, but allow yourself to put yourself in a position to earn the right to treat yourself in those things. So you are treating yourself. It is a form of self-love to put that money aside for your future self.
Oh, yes.
Right? So it is not a want, as I mentioned, it is a necessity. And a small amount, most people think, well, what is it going to do?
Yeah.
Right? To put this amount today. But that compounding effect, things like the rule of 72, when you evaluate how long does it take my money to double?
Yeah.
There's so many layers and rules to live by and put yourself in a position where you have options. So when I ask young people, what do you see for yourself? What do you want to do? A lot of them are coming out and looking at business ownership, entrepreneurship. Well, guess what? Surprise, surprise. Nobody's going to give you a loan, right? You have to put yourself in a position to be able to put money into your business and establish one. And then we talk about investing is going to help you get there, right? So it's understanding that it's a tool that needs to be intertwined in your life.
So investing is a part of it, but the other part of passing on generational wealth, once you have it, is estate planning. And Ruby and Eris Law is working with the CDC, like she said, because we want to help families to put that plan together, to write that love letter to the family so that when that time comes, it passes on. So, Karen, talk about how you work with families and especially even young people, because a lot of people think they don't have anything to leave.
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, our communities don't really talk about estate planning. It's a lack of education. It's some superstition involved and some cultural sensitivities around talking about death and incapacity. Ms. Vanessa. So what we've taken is an approach to talk to young folks and other people, our age, and say, listen, even though our parents didn't talk to us about this, let us be that change. Let us talk about the importance of planning. We plan for everything else. We plan for baby showers, we plan for weddings, but we really need to start planning for incapacitation and or death. And so what we've been on a campaign, and thank you so much for the CDC for allowing us to do these workshops, is to educate people first and say, let me tell you why you want to avoid probate. Let me tell you why a will is not enough. Let me tell you why you need a trust. And so in conjunction with good folks like my friend here that do financial planning, it's kind of a care team. So when she says this is self-love, right? It's also about your family. And if you love yourself and your family, and what is your legacy? What are you going to leave behind?
Yes, legacy. I mean, that is so important because one of the things that we hear is that the wealth gap is not getting any better for African American, for Black and brown people, but more so Black. And that's because we don't plan to pass things on. Because we are superstitious, and oh my God, if we write a will, oh my God, if we plan for, that's not going to cause it.
Exactly. And there's over 12,000 properties right now in Hillsborough County alone that are stuck in probate or owned by a deceased person, right? And so that I think is, my numbers may be off, but I believe there's somewhere around $9 billion that is tied up in assets that people can pass. But the problem is that we don't plan, we don't have the title of the homes in our names, and that's when we run into the heirs property issue. So the heirs property happens when someone passes away, and then those surviving family members inherit the house automatically. And how does that create problems? Because we know that my siblings get along, we all get along today, but we're not going to get along when it's time to either sell the house, rent the house, or hold, right? And so those are the kind of problems that we want to avoid when we're not here. It's a love letter. It's telling people what you want to do with your stuff, right? And with yourself. What kind of memorial instructions are you leaving behind? Don't leave your family out talking about everyone's fighting at the hospital. She wants the plug pulled. She doesn't want these life-sustaining measures. So these are the issues that if we can talk about them right now, while we're of sound mind and body, right? It will help us get along much easily, and it'll save us lots and lots of billions of dollars.
It's also an issue because we do live in Florida, where we are prone to hurricanes. And at the CDC last year, during the 2 hurricanes, we were helping families to apply for FEMA assistance. And we had so many people that couldn't apply because the property wasn't in anybody's name that was living.
And people don't know that. So if you live in a home and the deed is in someone else's name, you do not qualify for hurricane disaster relief funds, any type of disaster relief funds, flooding, FEMA, whether it comes local, state, you just will not qualify unless that home is in your name. So in order for us to change that, we have to go through probate. Probate is a very expensive court process. It's a very long court process. And in Florida, lawyers get 3% of the augmented value of your estate. So if you own a home that's valued at $300,000, automatically just to probate that home, we get $9,000. Which if you plan in advance, it's not going to be that expensive. And so we're working along with you and our other partners to make sure that we not only educate people, but we give them access to these documents and access to the education so that they can leave these beautiful love letters to their families.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Love letters. That's the legacy. That's a legacy that we talk about.
And that's it. We have to start being intentional. And we have to educate people on how it is that we have fallen so far behind. It's because we're not passing on that education and we're not taking those steps that our counterparts are taking. It's almost as if with life there was a rule book. Some people got the rule book and some people didn't. And when you don't know the rules and how to play the game,
we end up where we are.
We end up where we are.
Correct.
We're making mistakes that are costing us money. We have family members, and I think here in Tampa especially, where the price of housing and land is going up, and we have had people who walked away from their property because they said, oh, that's a bad neighborhood. Well, I think the people in West Tampa wish they could have that property back. Mm-hmm. I think the people in Ybor and Tampa Heights and Seminole Heights all wish they could have that property back that they walked away from.
Absolutely, Vanessa.
Because the value goes up. When you own land, you own a piece of America. So as soon as you buy a house, what should we do, Karen?
We need to put it into a revocable living trust. And you can contact us to help you do it. I don't want anyone to go online, no offense to the online doers, but do not do this yourself. You have to sit down with an attorney because we are going to know the nuances of your family. You're going to tell me that you don't get along with your daughter-in-law. You're going to tell me which one of your kids is a spendthrift and perhaps needs some help with special needs trust. So this is not the do-it-yourself type type of documents. We find that so many people that do it yourself come back to us and they end up spending so much more money. And the money that should be going to your family comes to the lawyers, and you don't want that. Not that we're saying we don't want your money, but what we're saying is we need to start teaching people how to keep the generational wealth within their own families. We have the money right here in the state of Florida. There's over $3 billion of unclaimed property at the Chief Financial Officer's repository. That is your money that is sitting there. That is money that is accessible. That is money that has been probably just not able to be opened because it might need to go through probate. Or people don't even know that it's there, Miss Vanessa. So these are the conversations that we're so happy to continue to have because it's all about education. So it's telephone, telegraph, tell Jasmine. And I would love for everybody to have that attitude about estate planning and feel free to talk about this with your family. I would want my family member to know how I'd like to be treated at the hospital, whether or not I can have Jello gelatin or whether or not I'm allergic to penicillin, right? These are the things that we don't tell anyone. And just because you're married, your spouse does not make decisions for you. We saw that with the Terry Schiavo case. We don't want to rely on a marriage certificate for you to believe that your husband or your spouse can make medical decisions. They cannot. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that prior to you getting married, you have a prenup. Prior to you getting a home, you make sure that you have all of these documents in place. You still execute a will because you want to make sure that we get rid of all of your stuff and we don't want to leave anything outside of the trust. We're going to make sure that you have a revocable living trust. You can change it during your lifetime. It's a little box that's going to protect you, right, with all of your assets. You're going to have a pre-need guardian, right? Pre-need guardian is the document that you fill out so that you don't end up like Wendy Williams or Britney Spears. We see how expensive guardianships can be. And I know you can attest to that. It's such a lucrative business, right? Memorial instructions and advanced healthcare directives so that someone can make decisions and powers of attorneys so that someone can pay for your bills if you cannot. But these are just 5 simple documents, and they are your application to say, I love my family, I don't want you to go through probate, and I want to build generational wealth with all of the hard things, all of the hard work that we've put together to give our family their things.
You said it as if it's simple, and I'm like, mind blown. So again, this is the CDC Experience. Follow us on all the social media, look at our YouTube channel, visit us at our website at www.cdcoftampa.org. We have so much information. We provide so many different programs, including access to people like Karen and Jasmine. Tell us, how do we get in touch with you?
So you can reach us by calling 813-246-9339. That's the offices of Anderson Butler Wealth Management. And you can also reach us at edwardjones.com/Anderson Butler Wealth Management. And you can also reach us through that website, just simply providing your information and saying, hey, I'm interested in a consultation. And from there, we can establish an appointment to, once again, understand what you're looking for, what your needs are, and give you some advice on the next steps.
Okay. How much does that consultation cost?
Our consultations are no cost.
And Karen, if someone is interested in getting that estate plan, that trust, and those directives completed, tell us how we contact you.
Well, you can find us on erislaw.com. You can find us on any social media website. Our name's Karen Skyers or Ruby Montez with an S, 1-877-449-4557. And all of our 30-minute consultations are complimentary. We want to know all your business, all of your family, if you're married, if you have children, if they're minors, if they're adults. What are we going to do with the guns, the dogs, the trust, everything else? And so give us a call. We want to help you walk through leaving your legacy love letter.
Now, when we come and tell you all of our business, do I have to give you $1 so we have that attorney?
No, you do not. Well, once you decide that you're going to move forward with us, we have you sign an engagement letter. And the engagement letter just says, we want you to prepare our estate plan. But everything in the office is confidential. We don't call your sister and your cousin and say, hey, you're getting cut off the will, right? But there are things that you want to talk about because, again, we have blended families, right? We have children that have special needs, and you know your family better than we do. So once you talk to us and tell us what your family dynamic is, we're going to create that plan to continue your legacy and build generational wealth once you're gone. And that is your legacy, and we're going to help you build it.
Awesome. So today we have been talking about how we create and pass on generational wealth. My name again is Vanessa McCleary with the CDC of Tampa. Follow us on all the social media outlets. Visit our website at www.cdcoftampa.org. I want to thank Karen and Jasmine for joining me today. This has been, again, the CDC Experience, and we look forward to seeing you next time.